Hi, welcome back to the Youngest Latina Ever. Today's topic is going to be on a topic that I was listening to. I did a radio show with a panel of women, and it worked out really great. We were talking about Trump's economy. And yes, I'm a little bit skeptical because, I was talking about having a sugar high, what comes up must come down, but also on the job creation front, because we still are counting a lot of people that are just off the grid, that are not counted and that don't claim unemployment, who haven't, pretty much given up looking for a job and know that they're never going to be employable in this country, like yours truly. But anyway, I'm kidding. But my whole idea of doing this topic this morning was I was listening to a podcast on his show, Malcolm's show on sexual discrimination in the workplace, and there was one guest that was talking about how women ask for it, by the way we dress, by the way we act, and by the way we look. And I want to say that there are some women that dress a certain way and act a certain way and look a certain way, and they're just downright hoish. And because they're about 80 pounds overweight and uglier than sin, and nobody's gonna fucking hit that for anything. You can put your Gucci and your Prada and your boobs out there, and the men are gonna be like, ooh, they're just gonna and then what comes into play is if it's a pretty woman who does just anything, who just blows her hair like this, or just does anything, people will automatically say, oh, she's just working it. So I think that sometimes people can be discriminated based upon their looks and their appearance, and some people are blessed with more looks than others. I'm not saying anything in particular, but I'm just saying that some people face more unwanted attention just because of the way they look, and should they be discriminated against because of that? Now, with that said, there are some girls that are somewhat pretty. I mean, they're not really pretty, but with makeup they can play up pretty and they can appear pretty. And those women that overdo the makeup and the goop and the goobly goop on their face and stuff like that, and put out the slut image and stuff like that to enhance their jobs or to enhance their careers or whatever, I think it's really despicable. They're called lobbyists. I've seen them in action. As engaged to a state senator, they would come through the office drunk and hoey and their boobs hanging out and looking like streetwalkers. And I'm like, what the hell do we have here? A parade of whores? I'm thinking to myself, but didn't say that. I'm just sitting there like behind my desk listening to everything that they're saying and just thinking, oh my God, no wonder we have so much trouble in this world. But on a positive front, there are guys out there too that take advantage of that, and I want to say on the positive front, because you're always painting like the woman had to dress a certain way or appear a certain way or do a certain thing, and I know of a particular woman who did nothing to warrant these advances or attention from a guy. Just simply, she was just adorable. And she was the sweetest person ever. And she was on the opposite side of the party. And she was a Democrat. And I'm defending this Democrat because she is like Snow White, as pure as the driven snow. And she did nothing to egg this guy on. He simply just went after her because of her innocence, and so certain predatory males will look for certain types of women, women that are that have this clean image or this cookie cutter image, and they'll go after that and they'll take advantage of it. And so with that said, the empowerment needs to start with our little girls, and for example, my daughter in middle school was pantsed by an illegal alien, and he actually pulled her pants down on the playground, and she had a maxi pad on, and the principal didn't do anything about it except tell the father, because she says, oh, he's going to get spanked because that's the culture. But then she says also she was going to turn it into the state because that's the culture. So if a white boy pants a girl and she has a maxi pad on, it would be jail term. That person would go to jail. That person would be in a lot of trouble. But a son of an illegal alien does it, it just simply means that we're just going to tell the father, and he's just going to get a slap on the hands because that's a cultural thing. And so if a Latina dresses a certain way, Is it she's looking for unwanted attention, or is it a cultural thing? Now, you're crossing a line here because, you know, not everybody's all in the cookie cutter. One thing that I pride myself on is looking good when I go places, and I like makeup, and I like to do it up, and I take pride in that. And my kids were always well dressed, and then I see people out there that just dress like slobs. I mean, they completely like wear those cargo shorts with the side pockets, and you know, no makeup, and they have tattoos all over their body, and I mean, nobody's gonna tap that shit, you know. And so do you want to discriminate because somebody has a certain appearance? And that's what you're saying. If a woman acts a certain way or does a certain way, because like I wore a skirt when I went to the GOP meeting here when I first touched down. And the skirt was the same length as some skinny white girl with no figure, with wrinkles under her eyes, and, you know, fucking that color green that they always wear at those GOP events. And she looked like shit in a sack, you know. And that skirt was tinier than my skirt, and nobody said anything about that stupid little bimbo whore, you know, dressing like that, okay? And she had those fake boobs, and she was fake all over. And then you have the Boricua, who has natural curves, not too fat, not too skinny, and you know, just I am the bomb, you guys. And so I wear something, and, you know, I'm within the right, you know, I make sure my hands are up to the sides and the skirt is not too short. And somebody comes up to me and she says, Dee, your skirt's too short. And it wasn't too short. And I said, really? Because I don't think so. And this was a big fat cow of a woman who was trying to tell me how to dress. But I warrant more attention than that one girl that was trying too hard. And I warrant it naturally. Do you want to discriminate me because I'm a certain way? I don't think so. Okay, so I put some modeling pictures on my LinkedIn. And does that make me a target for sexual discrimination because I did modeling pictures that had swimsuits? It would say that maybe Melania Trump, you know, deserves to be sexually discriminated because she also was a model and also posed in provocative pictures. No, I mean, simply stating that because you are a certain way or look a certain way is a reason to become, you know, a victim of prey is because of your appearance is bullshit. And so when I was listening to this radio show, and I don't mean to drive it home, but I really disagree with that person, because yes, I know that some people act a certain way, and Will was saying that they act a certain way, and I said, well, would you ever look at another pretty woman or whatever? And he says, well, no, because I'm not that way, you know. And well, of course, when he has the best thing in the whole possible world, why would you want to look another way, right, Bill? But that senator, as we were together, we were sitting in church, and I noticed this guy would be checking out like teenagers. I'm like, what are you freaking looking at, you know? And seriously, I like watching him like stare at people to the point where it was just like obvious, you know, that he was just being icky. Not Bill, but the senator. Bill would never do that. And I was engaged to him, and we weren't engaged very long because I'm like, okay, it's only going to get worse. This is like the honeymoon stage where everything's supposed to be wonderful and fluffy, and the guy's already checking out other chicks in front of you. It's not like he's trying to be sneaky about it or anything. And honestly, it got me to thinking about everything. It was like a huge red flag. It was like somebody was waving a flag, and you're going, Dee, something's wrong here. This was like neon flashlights going, warning, warning, you know. And you can see that. So if a man is that way, you know, and even in just a casual, like telling dirty jokes or being a total pig, and even if he has the world's prettiest wife, you know, I mean that pretty wife, if it was me, I'd be punching his arms so hard that he'd have like little dent marks in his arms. I'd be kicking his balls in so hard it would come out through his throat. I wouldn't put up with that for a single minute. Not that I'm jealous. I'm just like, don't you be disrespecting me or anybody else. So I don't think it's the women. I also think it's the men too. And I think that The certain kind of women that do that, they're doing it because they can get away with it. It's like, the illegal immigration. People are, oh, those illegal immigrants are so bad. But then we have those shitty businessmen that hire the illegals, So is it the illegals' fault? No, I find the businessmen that bring them in, that want to exploit them. So I blame the men again, okay? Because that's just the way I see it. Because, really, honestly, do I deserve to be a pig? Like, if I hire some young, cute, hot-looking muscle guy and he just unbuttons his shirt just so, and he has these awesome muscles and, ooh, baby, like, wouldn't you just want to slap me if I did that, And then, an old guy could dress the same way and be kind of flabby and wear that same shirt or whatever and not come off that way. So, don't be a pig. Don't be rude. Don't be disrespecting. So, I disagree with the women that say it's the women's fault, because honestly, I think the reason is that a lot of women put up with it because they don't have an alternative source of income. Honestly, a lot of this stuff happens because I work for a guy named Johnny, and not my ex-husband, but I took a job in California for Johnny's Cheesecakes, and everybody kept hanging up on the phone. Yeah, and this guy was a pervert, and he was always coming on to me and stuff like that, and so I just thought, okay, I could put up with it for a little bit, and look for something else, and then finally, it just got so bad that he was groping me and stuff like that, and trying to rub me and stuff at my desk. And I was really young. I was in my early 20s, and I was like, man, I got to get out of here. And I left early. And my mother-in-law's all, oh, you're home early? And I'm like, yeah, I quit my job. And she's like, you can't quit your job. And I'm like, did I tell her the guy groped me? No, but I tried to go back there to get paid, and the guy wouldn't pay me, and I'm like, well, and I'm like, really ended up fearing my life for him because he came out after me and tried to attack me, but I never got paid. I never reported it, and Johnny's Cheesecakes, there are lots of other women that were assaulted and groped and mistreated by this guy, because that's why there was a lot of hang-up calls, and he didn't run a good business, and he was a disgusting guy. And so, did I ask for that because I had a nice suit on and I was presentable and I was pretty? No. There are certain predatory males in this world that do things just because they're ugly, ugly people. And they use pretty girls. And mostly, you're not going to see a fat, ugly girl get groped, but sometimes they get groped too. But I'm just saying it happens more on women that have a certain appearance, like that model type face and body and whatever, and there are more targets for this, and only because it's just discrimination, pure and simple. And for you to sit there and say that a woman's appearance merits them for a reason to getting raped, or they put themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time, is bullshit. Because I was 4 years old when I was sexually molested. For the very first time, I was 4 years old in the state of Florida, Key West. I was the youngest victim of about a dozen. And as a 4-year-old, I was sleeping in my little onesie pajamas and not looking for any attention from anybody when some creepy man violated me. And it had nothing to do with appearance, because you know what, that kind of stuff that goes on with these women is not about looks and not about appearances, but more about power and fucking control. And that is the end of this segment. And I want to put it out there where you people think that it's the woman's fault, get over yourself, because there's these men that are out there doing it because they can do it and they're going to get away with it. And till we speak up and say no to it, it's going to keep going on. Have a great day. God bless.